Hello and welcome to a new and extremely sweaty vlog. If you're new here, my name is Neda and I'm currently on a 7-month backpacking trip. It is currently the 18th of March and I'm at the ferry port here in Lipe because I am officially leaving the island and the country. I am heading to Malaysia today. So yeah, from Lipe you can take a speedboat for about 3.5 hours and end up in Langkawi, Malaysia. So that is what I'm gonna do. The walk here was longer than it had to be because I walked the wrong way. So I had to go like an additional 5 to 10 minutes with my heavy backpack, and it is 29 degrees, feels like 36. So yeah, hence my face melting. But we made it to the port. It is the right port, which I wasn't sure about, so I'm happy about that. I'm gonna check in 10 minutes, and after that I have about 2 hours until the boat actually leaves. So I'm probably just gonna head right in there and grab myself a coffee and maybe some breakfast. I'm not sure. We'll see what they have. But yeah, we're leaving Thailand. We're going to Malaysia, and that will be my 3rd country on this little trip. I have been away for like 3.5 months now, so I do believe we have officially hit the halfway mark, which feels insane to think that I'm more than halfway through my travels now, and I'll be going home eventually. But we do still have about 3.5 months left of travel, so that's incredible. And in a little less than 8 weeks I am meeting up with one of my best friends from back home, so I'm also very excited about that. But yeah, I'm just gonna sit and wait and like try not to sweat my face off anymore, and yeah, check in, have some coffee, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright.
The check-in process was pretty easy, and they did the whole passport control thing here on the island. They stamped my passport and then they took it. I then put a destination tag on my main backpack and put it with the other bags with the same tag. Since I still had quite a bit of Thai money left, I decided to treat myself and got an extremely delicious frozen coffee and a blueberry muffin, as well as a smoothie later on. Eventually, it was time for us to get going as well. Now, for some reason, when I saw our bags being sailed away on a longtail boat, and when we were getting onto another longtail boat, I fully believed that this was going to be our way of transportation to Malaysia, and I was fully on board with that. Now, obviously, that wasn't the case. The longtail boats were just their way of transporting us a bit further out into the ocean, where a bigger boat was waiting for us.
This is better. This is a lot better.
It did get quite chilly on the boat since the aircon was on full blast, so I just layered up with my hoodie. Shortly after we had started sailing, members of the crew started walking around and handed our passports back to us. It hadn't been that long since they took my passport away, but nevertheless, it was a very nice reunion. I spent most of the ferry ride just listening to music and watching the very strange vampire movie that was on the TV, as well as snacking. The journey took about 3 hours, and it was actually surprisingly comfortable as there was a lot of space on the boat and the ocean was relatively calm. I bought the ticket at my hostel the day before and it cost me around 1200 baht. Now, once I arrived in Malaysia, I had no internet on my phone and no cash. These two things are usually my main priority once I get to a new country, although I always try to survive without it for a little bit. And the main reason for that is that SIM cards and cash withdrawals at your point of arrival, whether that is an airport or a ferry port, is usually extremely overpriced. So my first plan of action was to get to my hostel. Now, there were a bunch of taxi drivers trying to approach me here, but like I said, I didn't have any cash. So what I did instead, and what I usually do, was to just hop onto a free Wi-Fi in the area and book myself a Grab. This turned out to be a lot cheaper than the rides the taxi drivers were trying to sell me, and overall, it felt a lot safer and smoother as well, since I was able to pinpoint the exact location of my hostel while I was on the public Wi-Fi and then put it as my destination when ordering the ride. My driver turned out to be a super sweet elderly man, and during the drive, he gave me a bunch of recommendations of what to do in Malaysia. He even taught me a few phrases that were good to know, and the ride only cost me 6 Malaysian ringgits. Once I got to my hostel, I could then talk to the owner and get some local insider information and tips on where to get some cash and a SIM card that wasn't ridiculously overpriced.
Alright, I made it to my hostel and I'm in Malaysia right now. Like, what? This is so cute. I like it. I like it a lot. It's 4:30 right now, so I'm just gonna chill and get my life sorted a little bit, and then I'll head out and I'll talk to you guys more. Alright.
After having spent some time in the hostel, I went out to solve my cash and SIM card situation.
We are on an adventure. Should be good. Yeah, I have faith in me.
Now, I usually get really tired and overwhelmed on days like these where I have a lot of things to figure out and navigate all on my own. It's definitely one of the struggles when solo traveling because you don't really have anyone else to solve your problems with. It does, however, really force you to get to know yourself and figure out what works for you. For me, I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I might have a few things that I need to get sorted, but I try to just take it one thing at a time, and if I don't manage to accomplish everything in one day, that's okay.
Alright, it has been some time. It is now 6 p.m. so I am gonna go and get some food because I haven't really had food today. I've had raisin bread and a smoothie and a blueberry muffin, and I don't think that counts. So I'm gonna go and get some real food now, and yeah, that is it for now. Let's go get some food.
I found it very important to remind myself that this wasn't just a one-week vacation where I had to cram in as many activities as possible and where I had to stay productive for every second of every day. This was my life, and that meant taking a break sometimes. It meant allowing myself to feel things other than excitement and happiness. Sometimes I was overwhelmed, sometimes I was sad, sometimes I was tired of talking to people or moving around from place to place, and that was completely okay. My time in Malaysia was definitely a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but it was all part of the process and a lot of good things came out of it as well.
And that was the end of that. I arrived at the food place, they were luckily open. And yeah, I got the menu, had no idea what any of it was, so I just picked one that said like, it did say chicken, but it also said vegetables, so I just said vegetables, no chicken, and I got that. It wasn't too spicy, although at one point there was this like one green pepper that kind of disguised as a bean, so I just chewed into that and it was spicy as fuck. But I did survive, and it only cost me 17 Malaysian, the currency that I don't know how to pronounce yet. So I feel like that was fairly cheap as well. I don't really know what food is normally here, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. And now I am walking back to my hostel. The sun is setting, and I think I'm just gonna like take a shower and then chill in bed for the rest of the evening. And that's gonna be the end of the day. And also the end of the vlog. I feel like I should end this here. Thank you for watching. I hope you can hear me. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, and you want to see more of this, then stick around and I'll see you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.